The subject covered today is working with files and file folders in Windows 7. In this video, we will demonstrate how to use and navigate through the Windows 7 file and folder structure. The files in your computer contain information of many types. Some of the different types of information are text, pictures, or music. Much like information you would find in documents stored on someone's desk, if you just piled all those documents on your desk, it would be nearly impossible to find any particular file when you needed it. Just like the documents on your desk, the computer represents these different types of documents using small pictures called icons. These icons make it easy to recognize what the file type is. In order to organize the documents on that messy desk, one would sort them by document type, place them in file folders labeled according to the document type it contained, and put them in a file cabinet. Then it becomes easy for you to open the file cabinet and locate the folder that contains last year's tax return. Your computer is just like the file cabinet where you store your documents. In order to get the most out of your computer, it is important to know how to use the Windows file and folder structure. On your computer, folders work the same way that they do in a filing cabinet. A folder on your computer can not only contain files, but it can also contain other folders. These folders are usually called subfolders. You can create any number of subfolders, and each can hold any number of files and additional subfolders. The computer's folder is represented by an icon as well. This icon looks very similar to a physical file folder when it stood on its end. The great thing about Windows 7 is that it comes with a basic filing structure already set up for you. It includes a handful of common folders that you can use as beginning points for organizing your files. Some of these folders are as follows. Documents folder. Use this folder to store your word processing files, spreadsheets, presentations, and other business-oriented files. Pictures folder. Use this folder to store all of your digital pictures, whether you get them from your camera, scanner, or an email from other people. Music folder. Use this folder to store all of your digital music, such as songs that you copy from audio CD or download from the internet. Videos folder. Use this folder to store your videos, such as clips from your digital camera, camcorder, or video files that you download from the internet. Downloads folder. Use this folder to store files and programs that you download from the web. There are several ways to find these folders. The easiest method is to open the personal folders, which gathers all of your common folders in one place. The personal folder isn't actually labeled as personal. It's labeled with the user's name that you use to log on to the computer. To open it, click the Start button, and then click your username at the top of the Start menu's right-hand pane. In our case, it's video recording. This opens a window showing all of the user's folders. Just below the username in the Start menu are the Documents, Pictures, Music, Videos, and Downloads buttons, which will open the corresponding folders. Inside any of these folders, you can create subfolders to help you organize files within that folder. Now let's open the Pictures folder. Within this folder, you could create folders with dates, event names, or any other scheme that helps you keep things efficiently organized. As you can see, when you click on one of the folder buttons, you open a folder window on the desktop. This window shows list of files or folders stored there. In addition, this window has a number of parts that are designed to help you navigate around windows or work with files and folders more easily. Now we'll show you around this folder's window. Let's begin with the navigation pane. Here you can navigate to a different folder without closing the current folder window. You can also add folders to the Favorites link section, which makes it easier to quickly change to that folder. Here is a quick example. Left click on the My Favorites folder, and while holding down the mouse button, drag it to the Favorites and release the mouse button. The folder now appears in the navigation pane's Favorites list. Next is the back and forward buttons. You may use the back and forward buttons to navigate to other folders you have already opened without closing the current window. These buttons also work with the address bar, so if you use the address bar to change folders, you can use the back buttons to return to the folder where you were. Here's a quick example. First, I click on the libraries in the address bar, and then return to the previous folder by pressing the back button. Next is the toolbar. The toolbar allows you to access common tasks such as changing the appearance of your files and folders, copying files to another disk, or starting a digital picture slideshow. The tool buttons change to show only the commands that are useful. Here's an example. First, I will click on the new Microsoft Office Access file, and you will see a set of toolbar buttons. Now I will click on the Excel worksheet file. As you can see, there now are some new buttons on the toolbar associated with this file type. Next is the address bar. You can use the address bar to navigate to a different folder without closing the current folder's window. Here's an example. Let's say I have moved to My Favorites folder. Now, say I want to quickly change back to the Documents folder. I just click on the document's name and the address bar, and I return to the Documents folder. Next is the column headings. You can use the column headings to change how the files in the file list are organized. You can sort, group, or stack the files in the current view. For example, I want to sort the files by size. I will now click on the Size column heading, and the files will be sorted from the largest to the smallest size. Note that since the folders have a 0 size, their order is not affected. If I click again on the Size column heading, the list will now be sorted from smallest to largest. Please note that if you close the current folder window and reopen it, the files are still sorted as they were when the window was closed. This works until the user logs off or the computer is restarted. Next is the file list. This is where the contents of the current folder are displayed. If you typed in the search box to find a file, only the files that match your search will appear here. Next is the search box. If you need to locate a file or subfolder in the current folder, you can type a word or phrase in the search box to search for it. The search begins as soon as you begin typing. So if, for example, you type a T, all the files and subfolders that start with the letter T will appear in the folders list. Next is the Details pane. As you can see, there are more detailed properties about this file in the Details pane. There is extended information such as the album artist, genre, title, and many other details about this file. Lastly is the Preview pane. The Preview pane is not displayed by default. In order to see the Preview pane, you must click the Organize button on the toolbar. Move your cursor over the Layout option label, and an extended menu appears. Then move your cursor over that extended menu down to the Preview pane option and left click. The Preview pane now appears in the right hand side of the current folder view. The contents of the preview pane is dependent on the file highlighted in the files list. Note, some files will not have a preview available. When you open a folder to view your files, these files may not be displayed as you perhaps are used to seeing. Some people may prefer larger or smaller icons or an arrangement that lets you see different kinds of information about each file. These changes can be made using the Views button on the toolbar. Every time you click the Views button, the folder window changes the way it displays your file and folder icons. There are 5 different formats available to display the files by just clicking the Views button. If you click the arrow next to the Views button, you have even more choices available. Drag the slider up and down to view even more choices. Which are available to fine-tune the size of the file and folder icons. You can see the icons change size as you move the slider. An optional way to change the views can be done by clicking the Views button on the menu bar on the left-hand side of the Folders window. You can see that the same list of options is available for formatting the folder window. The biggest difference is that when you highlight one of the options here, the Folders window does not change dynamically. You created a file report on Monday. Usually you save your reports in your file folder Documents, subfolder Reports, subfolder Monday. Today is Friday and you want to review that report, and the file was not where you thought you saved it. Well, don't worry. You won't have to browse through the hundreds of files and subfolders on your computer. Just use the file search box located on each and every file folder, including your top personal file folder that contains all the files and folders on your system. Open that file folder by clicking on the Start menu button and your personal folder, in our case, video recording. Then, in the search box at the top right-hand side of that folder, begin typing the name of the file. The name of the file that you lost is Monday Report File. The search box filters the current view based on the text that you type. Files are displayed as search results if your search term matches the file's name, tags, or other file properties. Text documents are displayed if the search term occurs in any of the text inside the document. Your search looks in the current folder as well as all subfolders below it. The file shows to be incorrectly located in the Documents, Reports, Wednesday folder. This needs to be in the Document, Reports, Mondays folder. Now that you have found you put the file in the wrong file folder, you need to move that file to the correct folder. This can be done in several ways. I will use a very common method called drag and drop. To perform this, you will first have opened a folder and search for a file just like the previous demonstrated step. Now you will need to open a folder where you want to put the file. Before opening the next window, let's reposition the current folder window. I will use an on-screen keyboard to help demonstrate this. Click anywhere along the top of the currently open folder window. Press and hold the keyboard key, Windows key, and then press the left arrow key. The currently open window will be positioned in the left half of the screen. You now need to have the folder open where you wish to put this file. Now place your cursor over the Documents icon in the navigation pane of the current window. Right-click on the icon, and in the Open in a New Window, left-click. Now let's reposition this new file window. Again, I will use an on-screen keyboard to demonstrate this. First, you click on the window to be sure you have it focused. Then you press and hold the keyboard Windows key, and then you simultaneously press the right arrow key. In the right-hand window, double-click on the Reports folder icon, and again double-click on the Monday icon in the folders list. Now you are in the desired location for the file. In the Folders window on the left-hand side, place your cursor over the file to be moved. The file will become highlighted. While continuing to hold the mouse button, move the file from where it is to its new location in the right-hand folder. This is also called dragging the file. Please note that as the file icon passes into the new folder window, that a small text box appears below it saying Move to Monday. This confirms that you are moving the file to the Monday folder. Now release the mouse button. The file is now moved to its correct position. When using the drag and drop method, you might notice that sometimes the file or folder is copied, and at other times it is moved. Why is that? If you are dragging an item between folders that are on the same hard drive, then these items are moved so two copies of the same file or folder aren't created on the same hard drive. If you drag the item to a folder that's on a different hard drive, such as a network location for example, or to a removable media like a thumb drive, then the file is copied. That way the file or folder isn't removed from its original location. The most common way to create new files is by using an application program. For example, you can create a text document in a word processing program or a movie file in a video editing program. Some programs create a starting file when you open them. When you open Notepad, for example, it starts with a blank page. I'll demonstrate. This represents an empty and unsaved file. You can start typing and when you are ready to save your work, click the File menu bar and then click Save As. In the dialog box that appears, type a file name that will help you find the file again in the future. Sometimes there will already be default information in the dialog box. Replace this text with your desired file name. By default, most programs save files in common folders like documents, pictures, music, etc., depending on the application. This makes it easy to find the files again. However, you may want to store the file in another folder. In this dialog box window, you can move to another folder in the same way as you do in any other folder window. You need to change to that desired folder from this dialog window. I will change to the sample file folders and click Save. When you no longer need a file, you can remove it from your computer's hard disk to save space and keep your computer from getting cluttered with unwanted files. To delete a file, open the folder that contains this file. We're going to open Documents, Sample Files, and then select the file, Sample File. Press this delete key on the keyboard, and in the delete file box, click Yes. When you delete a file, it's temporarily stored in the recycle bin. Think of the recycle bin as a safety folder that allows you to recover files or folders that you deleted accidentally. Occasionally, you should empty the recycle bin to reclaim all of the hard disk space being used by your unwanted files. If you accidentally deleted the incorrect file, don't panic. A quick way to restore the file to its original location can be accomplished by first pressing and holding the keyboard key Control CRTL and then the Z key. Please note this only works on the last deleted file. If you want to open an existing file, the simplest way to do this is to just double-click on its icon. The file will open in the program that you used to create it. For example, if you use a notepad to create a file such as sample file and saved it in the sample files folder, when you open the folder and double-click on that file, the Notepad application will start and open the file for editing. However, double-clicking on some files, such as a digital picture, will usually open a picture viewer instead of a picture editor. Let's say we need to open a picture in the Pictures folder, so I can see and edit a picture called Fire Engine. I will now double-click on this file. As you can see, the picture opened in the window Microsoft Photo Viewer. This is not really what I wanted. What I really wanted to do is edit this file. To do this, right-click on the file, click Open With, and then select the name of the program that you want to use. In this case, I will use the Paint program. Now the picture is open for editing. Now you should have a basic understanding of Windows 7 file and folder structure.